It is the Riot Podcast, Wednesday, January 25th edition. We had a real fun show today.
You think the who would you choose Wednesday sort of question? Do you think that was your favorite
would
part,
you rather?
everybody?
That was good.
It's a good segment. We might have to bring it back. So here's something you can do. Is you can always text us, or of course you can message us on the Riot social media. But you can text us at 8772-RADIO-U. And first of all, let us know for today, the Would You Rather was, which member of the Riot would you rather be out of the three of us?
Got to pick, who would you be and why?
And then something else you could do is you could text us your Would You Rather that we may use on the show in the future.
That's a great one.
Yeah, that's
Good
a good
idea.
Yeah.
8772-RADIO-U.
That's right.
Isaiah,
That's why you text us.
I don't know about your tone there, if that was
What?
as believable.
I think it's a good idea.
It went a little high.
Yeah, it's a good idea. Like, would you rather be better than the one that I come up with? You can't be sure.
That's what I was saying. I
That's the
knew he
challenge.
likes doing Would You Rather. I thought he was getting upset because
It's competitive. I like it.
yeah, because he wants to come up with a Would You Rather.
Or maybe what I'll
Which is fine.
do is I'll take yours when you text it in, and I'll just
And
say
take
it's
credit for
There
mine.
it is. That's probably what's going to happen. So feel free to text, or if you come across something else in the podcast that you just want to join in with, we always see your text messages at 877-2-RADIO-U.
So we had a great show today. Lots of good stuff in here. But it's time for me to hijack the podcast.
Did
because
you say you had a story?
I've got
Story
a great
time.
story that we didn't say on the show today.
How come you didn't want to say it during the show?
Because sometimes there's things that you just don't want to say on the show, that they just fit better on the podcast intro. And so I thought I would give them, this is why the people...
You didn't want your mom to hear?
They tune in. No, they tune into the podcast as well as the show, and then you get extra bonus good stuff on here. And this is the kind of good details, the juicy details that you get.
Should we put this story behind a paywall or something?
We
Is it that good?
We should advertise this. And so for me, I'm going to tell you guys my horse girl story.
Your horse girl?
Mhm.
All right, what happened?
So we could give a lot of like dating advice on the show.
Yeah.
And sometimes it just doesn't always pan out like you think it will. And I had this happen to me where I had one of the biggest blunders I've ever had. And I was texting this girl that I had met online, right, through via Hinge.
Sure.
Okay.
We had matched, right? And this was like a year ago. And then we never like hung out or anything, but we ended up running into each other in person. And I was like, oh my gosh, she was really cool and stuff, whatever. But nothing ever really came of it. We never ended up going on a date or anything. And then we circled back, ended up matching again. And I was like, okay, maybe we should go on a date, right?
Maybe it's meant to be.
Exactly. So we played out this date. I'm like, all right, let's go on a date or whatever. I'll take you out, all the good stuff, right? And then about 2 days before the date, we're texting just like normal conversation, right? And we got on the topic of horses, right?
That sounds like a normal conversation, doesn't
Yes,
it, Nikki?
it sounds so
Eventually,
normal.
sure.
Like we had somehow got on the topic of horses, and I had said, "Oh yeah, but we know that like horse girls are known as being kind of crazy."
Oh, no.
Did I say
I
that?
said that.
Why?
Because it's like it's a funny thing.
I
It was
know,
a jokey joke
yeah.
that people say. They always say like poke fun at horse girls. Say, "Oh yeah, horse girls are kind of crazy," and I don't believe that. I have nothing against horse girls, right? And then she comes back like joking as well, like, "Oh yeah, obviously like that's what they say." And then I was like, "Oh yeah," I was kind of worried when I sent that text because I didn't know if you were a horse girl or not.
Sometimes when you're texting, like it can be taken the wrong way.
Exactly. Precisely what happens here. And then she said, when I came back, she was like, "Oh, why were you nervous?" I said, "Oh, because I didn't know if you were a previous horse girl." And she said, "Well, now I know that she paid no attention to my dating profile because on there it says ex-horse girl."
Oh, no!
And then I was like, "Oh, no."
You could have gotten away with the first comment.
I could have gotten away with it. I could have gotten away with it because she thought at first that I was joking about it. She thought that I was
Just
joking.
referencing the profile.
Referencing the profile.
Yeah.
She thought I was poking fun at her, and then I literally admitted that I was not poking fun because she was like, "Oh, I didn't realize you actually had something against horse girls."
That's
And I was
right.
like, I don't. Listen, I do not. And then we didn't go on the date.
Oh, not surprised. So,
That is where it ended.
all right, so we don't like the horse girl stuff, and you don't like Disney girls.
See, I have nothing against horse girls, okay? It was a joke. It was a jokey joke.
But do you have something against Disney girls?
I do have something against Disney girls.
Okay, because I'm
sorry.
hearing a lot of no's, and you're closing off some options of like some potential people.
Yes, I know. The horse girl thing, it's a joke. I've never met a horse girl that's crazy yet. But
But you met a Disney person who was.
But it feels like if you're a little bit too into Disney, I've never met a Disney person that's crazy either. But that is a red flag for me that I think you might be a little bit
Nikki,
too much.
Here's what's crazy is I've never heard the horse girls are crazy thingy either. Have you heard that?
Yeah.
You've heard that.
But not
Thank
as
you.
much as the Disney, or there's a few other levels.
Or like cat lady.
Cat
thing.
lady, that's
like,
another
I've heard
one.
that. Let's go through all of the people that we can alienate
Hudson,
right now.
You're not a lady,
Believe that.
so you find that as a lady, you've been called crazy one way
Yes.
for one animal. It's just
Exactly.
they're interchangeable.
Cats,
You know,
horses.
you just pick
Bears.
you, yes, and put
They
it
all
in.
they all fit together. But yet again, circling back, nothing against horses. It was taken out of context. I was making a joke.
It wasn't taken out of context.
It was taken out of context.
You're
You're now
literally
making
made the
it
joke.
her fault.
Well, it wasn't her fault.
You're kind of making it sound like it was her fault.
But there was a lot of confusion. There was so much confusion in the
No.
conversation.
No.
Because she had said, like, she was like, oh, like, actually, I said, I didn't realize the whole time that she wasn't joking. I thought she wasn't a horse girl for so long that it got to a point where she thought that I knew.
Yeah.
And I was just being offensive after a while because she was like, oh, she was like, I want to take offense to that. And I was like, oh, you want me to offend you? And I was like, and I didn't know we were talking about horses still. And it was a whole disaster.
Well, if you could next time, please pay attention to the person's profile a little bit better.
Oh, what do you expect them to remember every detail?
And we had already, this is the thing, we had already like met. And so when I saw our picture pop up, I was like, oh, look who it is. I didn't need to go through the whole profile again because I was like, oh, I've already met this person.
No, you obviously
We've already
did.
matched before.
You did.
Clearly, I needed a little
Apparently.
refresher.
Yeah.
Didn't get that refresher, and it really bit me in the bottom.
She
And
should have just had a picture of a horse in her, in her profile.
I know.
That would have made it easier
I
for
saw
you
her
not to mess
picture,
it
and I
up.
was like, dang, look who
Hudson,
it is.
We don't want to put the red flag right out there, all right?
She said, in the profile said, ex-horse girl.
You got to have a little mystery to your craziness.
And unfortunately, I missed that part.
Well, maybe you'll match with her again a year from now.
I just love
I'll
how
try again.
for all of your dating stories, they're on the other side telling the story about you.
I know, and they're probably telling probably so much worse from their point of view.
And he didn't even read my
My profile.
You would have thought the whole time he was just trying to offend me. I wasn't. I just didn't know, and I was trying to make a joke, and of course the joke didn't land.
Well, that's your extra bonus podcast content. We do hope you enjoy
That's
it.
in this in case the horse girl was listening on the actual radio.
I know that's
But she
why.
would never listen to this podcast.
No, she'd
No
never make it to the podcast, and if she did, I apologize.
Well, enjoy. Thank you guys so much for listening today, and we hope you enjoy our podcast.
Catch you next time.
Hey guys.
It's the worst of the riot on Radio U.
Let's talk politics.
Oh no!
Yeah, everybody buckle
we don't
up.
have to yet. We can still say no.
No, we got to talk about this because it's crazy. If you go back, I guess it was last year, right? Is when all of the hullabaloo came around about Donald Trump and the classified documents that were found at Mar-a-Lago,
Yeah.
right? That's his home, right? That's where he lives. So that was a whole big ordeal. That still continues to play out. And then, technically, I think these were found last year, but the news story only came out recently, and that's that current President Joe Biden also has classified documents
In the
that
garage.
were in his garage, and I think other places as well. And I think he said they're next to his Corvette. I don't know if that makes it better or worse.
I think you should have said that.
Yeah, and so that's both times that's come out. It's been like, well, that's weird. That doesn't normally happen, or does it? Because now former Vice President Mike Pence, also his lawyer has revealed, has classified documents at his home in Indiana as well.
They're saying a small number of documents were taken, not him, but the documents were taken into FBI custody. They have to watch the wording of
Yeah,
that.
you do.
They say they were inadvertently boxed and transported to Pence's house at the end of the last administration.
Yeah, I like how every time along the way, like we're now into the third president or vice president this has come along with. And every time it was like, well, that's unusual. This doesn't normally happen.
I
And,
think every politician has documents at their house that
Yeah.
they're not supposed to.
well, that's
probably just what happens.
It's supposedly, like from what I understand, it's not unusual to have classified documents at your home, but it is like you do still have to treat them properly. And supposedly that's not very difficult to do. And yet
It's not
we're
done.
now 3 politicians in. But, maybe this is good news, though. At least they're, you wonder, are they actually working? They don't leave work at work. They're taking it home with them.
No, I think someone's I know you think that, but they're just bringing the papers home.
Well,
and
why
not
would
even
you do
them.
that?
Other people are bringing the papers over.
Yeah.
Which is why we can have a nice little modern talk. Do you know how long it's been since Hudson and I have touched paper? We live in a documentless society. So
why can't you don't you have a Google Drive, a classified Google Drive instead?
And then
you can access it from anywhere.
We could have security issues on that level instead of it being on physical paper.
Then our classified documents could be anywhere.
Yeah, isn't that much easier?
Yeah, not next to our Corvettes.
I mean, this feels like your grandparents because they're the ones. Like my grandmother had documents and papers and bills and just like she never got rid of any paper. And it feels like this is an older school style of like just documents everywhere.
I guess, but maybe that's because they don't I don't know how the government works. Maybe they still don't fully trust all of the cloud stuff, which probably for good reason. It's a lot harder to hack a piece of paper
than someone's garage.
Yeah, hack somebody's garage.
Yeah, I don't know.
Especially if you don't even know what's in there, where you could be snooping around in somebody's Google Drive. You're going to find something. I guess you could snoop around in the garage, and if you don't find classified documents, at least you'd find a Corvette. But I don't know. I think this is a type of thing where, how many more politicians does it have to come out about that they have classified documents improperly stored at home or elsewhere before we all are just like, okay, whatever.
I feel like we're probably at that point.
Yeah, let's just...
And it's not weird, I guess, because it seems like it happens, and they all have classified documents, which they should not.
Well, still, I still like to look on the bright side. So I'm saying some people think that, especially with Donald Trump, is like, oh, he's always golfing or whatever. Mm-hmm. No, he was working from home.
Working from home.
Why else would you have the documents there?
And our Battle the Buzz is coming up. I'm sure we have Battle the Buzz archive papers somewhere. You don't know what to do sometimes with things.
But you don't want to burn them.
Well, yeah, I know. And then if you throw them away.
You know what we do?
What?
Declassify them.
And how would we do that?
Just make them publicly available.
In the trash can in the break room.
Then at least if they're leaked, it's not a big deal.
You won't hear a show like this anywhere else. And that's probably for the best. The worst of the riot. Radio U.
Did you see yesterday that the Doomsday Clock has been updated?
We still have a Doomsday Clock?
We still have we haven't hit Doomsday yet, have we?
You're right. I guess I just forgot the clock.
Yeah, well, they don't update it very often. Actually,
is that it? Is it really just a cardboard clock?
Yeah, and it's not even a whole clock. Because at this point...
And why is there so many older people?
Well, those are the only people wise enough that have seen enough of the world to know how close we are to Doomsday.
It looks like, because even just the picture we're looking at, it looks like a school project because it looks like the thick cardboard.
What?
And then behind it is a bigger piece of cardboard with like
poster board.
Look at the clips on the top.
Yeah. And look at them holding the black the sheet.
Yeah.
Which feels wrong to have like a big reveal. Like here's the new iPhone, but it's the Doomsday Clock.
It feels very class presentation put together.
Yeah. This is the Doomsday Clock. Okay, so they do the Doomsday Clock. It is updated every January by the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists, I think.
They call it a metaphorical measure of challenges to humanity. Mm-hmm. So the clock, moves if things are worse. It goes the other way if things are getting a little bit better, but it's the Doomsday one.
It was founded going back to 1945 is when this thing first got started, and Albert Einstein was involved. And several Nobel laureates have been on this committee over the years. And so the big news is they revealed their update, and we are now closer to midnight, in other words, Doomsday, than we've been since 1945. We are now,
I don't know if that's really a congratulations or
90 seconds to midnight.
To Doomsday?
Yeah.
So they say that is largely, though not exclusively, due to Ukraine with the war.
Yeah, because if you go back, again, they do this every January. Last year, the war had not officially gotten underway yet.
Yeah.
So that is why they say it is largely moving that close. But I think this is wrong.
Why?
I hate to disagree with these Nobel laureates and whatever, but let me tell you why they're wrong. You think we're 90 seconds away from this? Is the closest we've ever been to the world ending? When they started this, like right after they initially started like making nuclear atomic bombs.
I know.
And now we're the closest we've ever been.
Well, I mean, if you just add it with everything else, they say they want to alert humanity to threats from within. So that's our own technologies, global climate change, biotechnology, all this stuff kind of gets added in to see how we are affecting ourselves.
Blah, blah, blah. You know what? We might be closer than ever to midnight, but I don't think we're 90 seconds to midnight. That signifies that we're basically done for.
Have you seen the price of eggs? I mean,
it's
really,
a lot. It's a lot.
If you see how those are so expensive, that's right next to Doomsday.
Here's what I think they did. You've got a whole clock. You've got 60 minutes or 12 hours, and they put it at now it's 90 seconds to midnight. The problem is it's like that John Mulaney bit where you're making a happy birthday banner and you're writing it by hand, and you start with a giant H, and then you start with a giant A, and before you know it, you've used up 3/4 of the banner, and you only have HAP, and you have to squeeze in e-birthday. And that's what they've done. We're not 90 seconds to midnight. They started it at 7 minutes to midnight. You've got 60 minutes, and you started it at 7?
But they were supposed to have years where we went back probably, and we just haven't gone back on the clock.
I know, but that's the problem. They started it too close.
Well, okay. Well,
they didn't realize how close we can get to annihilation.
I know,
without actually being that close to annihilation.
So again, that's the Doomsday Clock. Every January, they see how closer we are to Doomsday.
Well,
by using a big cardboard clock.
Yeah, that they've chopped off. They, according to this clock, there's no chance we could even get back to like 15 minutes to midnight.
It'll never be good.
That'll never happen. I just like to say I'm open to joining this committee. I'll be happy to provide my services. I mean, you only have to do it once a year, so it's not a big commitment or anything.
No, but I feel like you got to join this committee. You're younger. They'll be like, hey, he can make the clock.
Yeah.
Then you got to go to, I don't know, Joann's or
Party
Home Depot.
Party City. Yeah. And we're going to replace the Doomsday Clock with a happy birthday banner.
Okay.
And we'll see how much of the letters I can squeeze in.
You have a new
And that's how close we are to midnight.
That's good.
We'll invite John Mulaney, too.
This is Radio U's Worst of the Riot.
We are going to need you to text in on this one. This is all about you. Would you rather? We've got we can call it Would You Rather Wednesday.
Oh, I think it works.
We've got a Would You Rather, a debate that, Nikki, was this your idea?
No, this was my idea.
Now, wait.
This is for sure my idea.
If everybody thinks it's a good idea, it's mine.
Okay, fair. If it's a bad idea, then it was my idea.
I know Would You Rathers generally are your idea, but I think Nikki came up with this one. Which member of the riot would you rather be?
I'm fascinated to think which, out of all three of us, if you guys could choose which one you would be, who would you be?
I know why Nikki came up with this one because she knows everybody will say her.
No,
so it'll be a very positive experience for you.
No offense, Isaiah, but I think they're going to pick him because he's like the fun, maybe doesn't have all the responsibility one.
I am the most fun.
So I think he'll get chosen as, out of the three of us, if you could be someone, who would it be?
But
you don't want to pick the person who has the most work.
Don't you think we're more relatable? That's right. We do have the least work. We have much less work than Isaiah.
I think that what would your argument be to choose you, Hudson?
To choose myself. Well,
yeah, why would they want to pick you?
If you stepped into my shoes, you would be happily married with a beautiful wife. That's a big positive.
That's good. Okay.
True. There you go.
I think we meant more like work-wise.
Yeah.
Work-wise.
Well, if you chose me work-wise, you are the star of one of the biggest morning shows and podcasts in the world.
There you go. There you go.
And Nikki and Isaiah get to ride off of... Why would you choose them when they're just riding off my coattails?
You're right. You're
See,
right.
I like the way you think about that, but oddly enough, in my mind, I'm the star of the show. It's this weird thing, this weird dynamic in here.
You two, that you might be helping them choose me.
Yeah, I know.
Or do you guys feel sorry for me because I put up with those two?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Why would you pick Nikki when you're going to be stuck in a room with Hudson and I all the time?
Well, why am I doing this?
Yeah, so wait a minute. Hold the phone.
This what is the question for the Wednesday? The would you rather?
Would you rather Wednesday.
Put this down as the would you rather Wednesday where Nikki suddenly realized.
Yeah.
She's like, maybe I have it the worst.
8772 Radio U. Text in with which member of the riot would you prefer to be?
And maybe put a little something on why
Yeah,
you're
you gotta
choosing
give some
that person.
reasoning.
And include your name. So text 8772 Radio U for Would You Rather Wednesday. Which member of the riot, if you could be one of us, which one would you be and why?
Or which other two members of the riot would you not want to be?
Yeah, that's also
That's another way to look at
that's
it.
another way to answer.
It's not that I want to be this person. It's that I really don't want to be this one.
Hudson.
I would hate it.
8772 Radio U.
I don't know if this makes us feel good.
Well, I mean, you came up with it.
I like it. I love it.
See what people are saying coming up.
This is the Riot. Radio U.
It's Would You Rather Wednesday. And the question is, if you were forced to be one of the members of the riot, Nikki, Isaiah, me, which one would you choose?
Which one would you go
Which
with?
one would you want to be? And we have a lot of people chiming in.
You want to hear some of them?
Yeah.
I do at first. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe we'll
see how
shut this down
goes.
quickly.
All right, I'll give you Billy's first. Hudson, because he's always in charge.
See, well, Billy, that's where you're wrong. I mean, I like to think that we're all in charge in our own little special way. Hudson may be in charge,
That's funny
but
that's Billy's interpretation.
Yeah.
that's what he thinks
Yeah.
happens
I
around
come
here.
across as in charge, and that's what really matters.
Jessica says, would you rather Wednesday? Nikki, because she has amazing patience, and my pets, because I have lots of dogs and
Yeah,
cats.
that's a good reason.
Which I'll follow that up with Rain, who's also choosing me because I have a cool job and lots of pets. I didn't know that was going to be a theme of
Do
this.
Isaiah and I get included as your pets? Because
Yeah, it's another we're additions. She's got 7 of them. She's got 6 pets.
Let's see. Caleb says, I would not want to be Nikki because I deal with you guys, and Caleb doesn't want to deal. So I said,
Good
hey,
call.
well, then you have to pick Isaiah or Hudson, and says, yikes, I guess that's the unfortunate consequence of not going with me. So I'm still waiting to hear back on that.
I guess you could be Nikki and if you could choose to be Nikki and then quit.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Good.
That's true.
There you go.
Let's see. Catherine's saying I would be Isaiah with Nikki's pets. Hey.
Hey, Jim's a good dog, all right? You guys don't want Jim?
Says his life is closest in circumstances to mine, and I'm quite happy right now.
Sounds like you live a good life.
there you
sound
go.
like you
If you just
good
had
life.
more dogs.
Tom says Hudson because I love hot dogs. Ken's going to go with Isaiah because he's young.
good
Tommy
option.
says.
Wait, hold on a second.
What are you talking about?
How old do you think Nikki?
Look at me. I am the pinnacle of youth.
Yep, that's it. That's it. Let's see. Tommy's going with Isaiah because our personalities are too similar. A seamless transition over to you.
Sounds like you're a fun guy, Tommy. I like your style.
Regina says, good morning. I appreciate all three of you for your senses of humor. I relate to Nikki the most because of her ability to work and keep Hudson and Isaiah in line. Roll with the craziness, though, and then sarcasm as well.
I think what I'm hearing is that Nikki should go demand a raise.
I know.
How hard her job must be dealing with us.
I didn't know that you guys caught on to the problems
Yeah.
that came with the show, but I think everybody got a couple of votes there.
Yeah.
we all
Hudson,
got-
you got one.
Well, I
You
got
got a
2.
vote?
I got at least 2.
Now we can't be sure if there was 2.
I got at least, I got multiple votes. And I'll tell you what I do appreciate about everybody is nobody was texting and being too negative.
No, not at all.
Nobody is like, I would hate to be Isaiah because Jim the dog is a hellion or something.
Hey, you know
like
what?
that.
He is, and he is. That would have been a fair text.
But people are still willing to put up with that. It
I
sounds
still
like.
thought for the Would You Rather Wednesday, the question is, would you rather be Hudson, myself, or Isaiah if you could choose? And I thought it would just focus more on, the riot, like work related, but I didn't know
Yeah.
you guys would bring our pets in and more personal stuff.
See, that's where I took a big downfall there. That right there was where
Jim
my
cost you
stocks,
several votes.
He got me a lot of votes.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a good segment where we can all walk away feeling okay about ourselves.
Pretty good?
I mean, nothing. Isaiah and I didn't hear anything we didn't already know.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Well, you're still welcome to vote anytime on who would you rather if you had to choose, or if it was an unfortunate problem and you became one of us, who would you rather become?
8772 Radio U.
Hudson, Nikki, The Riot on Radio U.
Love when Isaiah finds relationship advice for us. as the single one of the bunch.
What'd you find?
Oh, we're talking about me?
Yeah, you found this.
I did. You know what? I never know if you want to introduce it or if you want me to do it.
I did introduce it. I said.
You said, here you go.
This relationship advice.
He wasn't paying attention to you.
No,
I wasn't. It was another one of those times where I wasn't listening when you were talking, but
That's the whole show.
literally. So I found the story last night before we came in, and this one pretty much is talking about how you should not be. You need to change the way you're arguing with your significant other. Because most people are arguing to win.
Oh, sure.
You are not supposed to argue to win. You're supposed to argue to understand.
Oh,
To understand.
I know, exactly. And so what
How do you do that?
What they say is while you're arguing, you need to keep more of an open mind because obviously mid-argument, people start getting very stubborn, like we do pretty much every day on the show. Once you take your stance, then it doesn't matter.
Back down.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what the other person is saying. Pretty much no matter what, you're stuck in your way.
To be fair, our show would be real boring if every time we started arguing, one of us just goes, actually, you're right.
That's a great idea. Reasonable.
It is the riot.
Well, they'd finally hear less of us.
But tell us more about how this would help our relationship.
So what they say is while you're mid-argument, you need to listen to the other person, and if you do so, it will lead them to be a little bit more well received during the argument. It'll make them feel better about themselves.
Gosh, this feels like this article is written by someone who never wins an argument.
Exactly.
So they're calling it the benefits of arguing to learn. So you're supposed to be open-minded during an argument so that you can learn new things about how awful you are and help you land on a correct answer so then others are more receptive to maybe then your point of view.
Well, this person doesn't, or whoever came up with this study doesn't understand that the reason I'm arguing in the first place is because I have the correct answer.
Because you are right.
And my wife is wrong. And so she needs to argue to learn.
I do like the arguing to learn thing. I mean, that's not the worst.
I think, seriously, I think I do have this problem because I always want to be right. And I always feel that I'm right. Why are you acting like...
No, you do.
You can
He's
tell.
picked up on that.
No, we've all got that. We've caught
so
on to that.
I never want. I always want to be right, and so I do argue to win, and that's how I know that I'm right.
Well, let's look at this. They say arguing to learn is a mentality, not a set of tactics. So sometimes if you're yelling or arguing with someone, it's very tactic driven on how you just want them to agree with you.
Yeah.
So the key is understanding why it matters in the first place.
Yeah, I like the. He recommends trying to hit the 4 primary W's. You ready for these?
All right.
We've got.
This is big for me.
Ready? What's your argument? The first one. Why is it true? Now, when has it happened before? Now, who really cares?
Wow.
That make you feel better?
Those.
But if
Make
you
feel
end at the end, if you try to end an argument by saying "who really cares,"
But like at the end of the day, does it really matter?
Worse. Yeah, that doesn't sound great.
I don't like this because I feel like I am right a lot of times when I argue.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right. That's what everybody thinks.
I'm just
Why would
trying
you
to
be
make you
arguing
smarter.
If you thought you were wrong.
I'm helping you. I'm helping you understand. Right now, you're in the wrong. But after this conversation, you're going to be so much smarter if you just listen to me.
Here's
Look at
a good
this.
point, though. They say this isn't really the best, maybe for if you're in a relationship with someone. They say this is more if you're workplace arguing, where it's not the best to have the attitude of you're right no matter what. So this is more like if you're arguing
But
with
in a relationship,
coworker.
you can be right no matter
Yeah,
what.
that's fine.
Yeah, you know what?
You can be as stubborn as you want.
I actually have to give the authors of this study credit because they've managed to get us to all agree that, that it's a stupid thing to do.
We did.
Even we
Bringing
aren't
us
arguing
together.
about this. And if you can stop us from arguing, you must be doing something
You're
right.
stopping the show.
Well, relationship corner with the riot.
The Riot Radio U.
I have had so many people ask me in the last few days, so where do you think Aaron Rodgers is going to wind up? You still going to be a fan if he leaves the Packers? These
you
kind of
love Aaron
questions.
Rodgers.
I love Aaron Rodgers.
And you love the Packers.
I love the Packers, and I love the Packers before Aaron Rodgers. And if you want to know a bit about me, I remember back when Aaron Rodgers, like when he was waiting in the wings and Brett Favre was there. And you know what? I guess you could say maybe I just loved Aaron Rodgers way back then before we even knew how good he was, because I couldn't wait to get rid of Brett Favre. I wanted him run out of town.
Yeah.
Even though he's one of your guys' greatest quarterbacks ever.
Yeah, but he sucks, though.
So
Yeah,
what
he
about for
sucks,
Aaron
though.
Rodgers? Are you wanting to run him out now, or you want him to be there forever?
Unlike with Brett Favre, where when he left the Packers, I wanted him to just lose as much as possible. But with Aaron Rodgers, I want him and the Packers to both be happy. And maybe that means him having to go somewhere else and then me having to cheer for both.
Oh, this is a healthy breakup.
Yeah,
This is
I think
healthy.
so. I feel like I'm the child, and I'm going to love
the
mom and
parents,
dad even if
yeah.
they do break up.
You won't.
Aw.
I will.
I don't think you will.
I will.
I don't think you will.
That means your parents never separate. Because you feel differently when it happens.
But it is being tossed around that there's really a very short list of opportunities of where Aaron Rodgers could go that outside of him sticking with Green Bay or retiring. The Packers have said they are not going to trade him to any team in the NFC, so that eliminates half the league.
Which would be the best thing for him?
What do you mean?
I think the best options are in the NFC for him.
The best, what, the Packers' best return or the
I think it could be
for
both.
Aaron Rodgers?
I think both of them could be the best.
Now, let's see.
For him to go to an NFC team. Because I can think of two teams off the top of my head that I think would make for pretty grand fits for old A-Rod. One in specific.
Tell us real quick.
The one
The
team,
two that will never happen because
I will say there's one team, this is the only one we need, that I think if Aaron Rodgers went to him right now, he'd be a phenomenal fit, and they would go win the Super Bowl, even though they might do it this year without him.
Yeah.
And that is the dreaded, for Hudson, San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
They could trade him straight up for Trey Lance, maybe throw in some picks with it as well. It would be a fantastic
why would
trade
they
for
trade
both
for
sides.
Trey Lance and they have Jordan Love?
Because Jordan Love is trash.
And Trey Lance is good.
Trey Lance at least has looked decent in some games.
This is like asking.
I would hate to be a football player and just hear people just say, you're trash.
You're trash.
Yeah, well, this is like asking if I'd still love my mom if she broke up with my dad and met with Pete Davidson. It's not going to happen,
Yes.
and I would hate it if it did.
So they said they're
But-
probably going to trade him, if they would, to the AFC. And, okay, so would you still love the Packers, Hudson?
Yes. The
Okay.
answer is yes.
Why doesn't he just retire since he's older?
Because he's still great.
He's still good?
He's the best. He's one of the best. He just won 2 MVPs. He's the reigning
He did,
back-to-back
but this year he was not
MVP.
fantastic.
But don't
Like
you
they fell
feel-
off a little bit. I
Don't you
won't
feel
lie.
like
He's still
getting-
good.
He's getting a little weirder.
He is getting weirder.
He's getting weirder.
He's. I don't see
And
any
it's-
problem with that.
I mean, the Tom Brady stuff show it's a quick fall down.
It is.
Well, he went through a divorce.
Okay.
Well, I mean, this
everybody's
past-
Aaron Rodgers
separated.
isn't married.
Aaron
He
Rodgers
can go
was-
wherever he wants. He's not tied
He
down.
was playing with
he
like
doesn't have
weird
kids to get in
spices
the way.
over the summer. Like, can we like and kind of talk about that a little
I
bit?
know,
There was some
know.
weird stuff going on. His girlfriend's name was Blue for a while.
He's been doing that for a while, and it's worked out all right.
Whatever,
worked out
whatever,
pretty
man.
good.
Listen,
Whatever you're
but
into.
listen,
Isaiah, we can't talk bad about Dad.
I know exactly.
The reason
Hudson.
I bring all this up is because there is one destination that would be perfect. It would be ideal. And that is, it's one of the two possibly most likely, and it's the New England Patriots.
Oh.
Nothing would make me happier.
Oh, I wouldn't want to
Really?
go. I wouldn't want to go over there.
Me either.
Why? To the Patriots?
This is a different side of the.
You put the best
side of the
coach
state.
in the
Yeah.
entire league with the best quarterback in the entire league. You know what they're going to do? Win like 6 Super Bowls.
You
But
think-
they're too big. They're too big of people. I feel like one wouldn't want to learn from the other,
You're
and they
right.
wouldn't. It'd be a difficult transition.
They don't
I
need
can
to
see
learn.
that
They're
too.
both already perfect.
Yeah, I think that would be. I don't think Aaron Rodgers would want to go to New England though,
think
because all he does is complain about how he doesn't have any weapons, and he would be going to the team that is notorious for never having any weapons.
What? Aaron Rodgers is the only weapon you need.
I guess so. We did see that this year.
Yeah.
He was a pretty awesome weapon for the Packers.
He had a
when they
broken
lacked.
thumb.
When they
think
lacked
we're-
You
weapons.
try throwing a football with a broken thumb.
Hey, you know, I'm not saying I could do it, but I think he should go somewhere with weapons. And I don't know if New England is the place to
Bill
go.
Let's leave it at
Belichick is
this.
the weapon.
Let's leave it at maybe it's better if he doesn't leave the Patriots, or not the Patriots, but the
Packers.
Packers.
Yeah.
Or maybe he just takes a little breaksy and he just retires.
He
And
just
then
hangs
goes
out
to
for
the
a little
Patriots
bit.
next year.
Something like
After
that.
a retirement where he can do more ayahuasca.
Yeah, that's what
For
it
a
was.
little
Ayahuasca.
Yeah.
Maybe he just needs some time to figure out what the heck he is doing.
Thanks for watching the worst of the riot. Since you made it this far, you might as well like, subscribe, and check out riot.radiou.com for even more riot.